everybody, it's Cayley. I'm back with another What Sold From Last Week video. In today's video, I will be going over all of my sales that I sold on eBay and Poshmark, doing a breakdown of those numbers, approximately how much I paid and what the fees were, and then we'll be diving into some of the actual sales to go a little bit deeper into why I picked them up. If you like these kind of videos, make sure that you are subscribed down below as well as hit the notification bell. That way you get notified as these kind of videos go live. Let's dive right into the sales. These past few, actually months, have been really amazing, and all of the work that I've been putting in for the past few months has really started to kick in now. All right, so everything that you see here reporting on the screen happened between December 5th through the 11th. And these are my eBay and Poshmark sales, so between those two platforms. In total, I sold 109 items for a gross sales total of $3,621.07. This made my average sale price $33.22, and my estimated cost of goods based on an average buy cost, $436. This makes my estimated net after cost of goods, after fees, and after shipping costs $2,250.53. I sold 65 items on eBay and 44 on Poshmark. On eBay, my gross sales were just over $2,300, and on Poshmark, they were just over $1,300. We're going to dive right into these sales. First up is this J. Crew women's leather boot. I wanted to bring this up because a lot of people pass on J. Crew, and I will say it is a very saturated brand, but if you have something with really good materials or a substantial piece, it can do well. J. Crew shoes do really well for me, especially when they are made of real leather. So these were kind of a distressed looking booty. I paid $5.99 for them, and they did sell for my full asking price of $39.99. Next up is this J. Jill wool cardigan sweater. One thing to note here is it was made of wool. It did have a chunky cable knit, and it was a size 2X, and the sizing really made a big difference on this. So for all of the substantial factors combined, is why I picked this up. I paid $5.99 for this at a thrift store. It did sell for my full asking price of $59.99. Next up is this American Eagle fuzzy sweater. I talk about this a lot during the winter and the fall time, but basically brands that I wouldn't normally pick up, mall brands, if they have novelty print, meaning if there is an animal graphic or a spell out, I find does really well for me. And of course, as always, you want to do your specific comps. So in this case, I looked up American Eagle women's weekend sweater and was able to do comps that way. But in my opinion, these novelty sweaters sell quickly, not always for a ton, but they do flip. I paid $4.29 for this at a thrift store. It sold for $24.91. Here's another J. Crew piece. I picked this up because it was 100% silk. Also, anything that I can consider a pin-up style, which I thought this was because of the polka dots, I do pick up because I like putting that into my title. I find it really helps to bring the right buyer. There's definitely a buyer for pin-up looking items, even if it's not, actual true vintage pin-up stuff. Once again, this was silk, and polka dot stuff can be hard to find, but it is really easy to do comps on. So I picked this one up for $3.99 at a thrift store, and it did sell for my full asking price of $34.92. Next up is the brand Bear Paw. A lot of people pass on Bear Paw. Most people are only picking up Uggs and these kind of fur-lined winter boots, but Bear Paw can do really well, and they have a following. These were size 11. I originally picked them up for me, thinking I could wear some more fuzzy socks with them, but they were just simply too big for me. I usually wear a size 10. I paid a little bit up for it because I was originally going to wear them for me. I paid $19.99 for these, but they were almost in brand new condition. They were really excellent pre-owned condition, but nonetheless paid $20 for it. It did end up selling for my full asking price of $59.94, so 20 into 60, not a bad return on investment. This is an Express women's vintage academia dress. You can see just how old this tag is by Express, but I would have picked this up regardless of the brand. Express isn't typically something I get, but I really like the style of this. This is kind of a bib apron kind of dress, and it had that really nice plaid feature to it. Anything you see that are overalls or bib looking or apron looking, definitely look up. That style is really in right now. People like to pair things under it with like chunky sweaters underneath of this, a t-shirt, stockings and boots, things like that. But it is a very on trend style right now, and so regardless of brand, if you can find a style like this, I would suggest picking it up. We paid $4.99 for it. It sold for $28.75. Another brand I really love picking up is LL Bean. I was fortunate enough to get this new with tags. We only paid $2.19 for it at a thrift store. LL Bean, their stuff retails for a lot, and typically it does hold resale value. I don't know why people aren't talking more about LL Bean, but it is a brand that I really love picking up. This was a men's 100% lamb's wool sweater. Once again, new with tags, so that really helped to up the value. If you find LL Bean in substantial pieces or with nice materials, also if it's new with tags, that was just a bonus, but definitely do a comp on it because it does have a following. So paid $2.19. It sold on an offer for $53.96. Here's another brand I love picking up during this time of the year is Eileen Fisher. I pretty much pick up all Eileen Fisher regardless of how old the piece is, if it's in good condition. I say that with caution. Obviously do your comps, but for me it is a pretty tried and true brand. I picked this one up because it was 100% linen, and substantial materials in this brand usually help to up the value, and they sell really quickly. I picked this up for $5.99 at a thrift store. It did sell for my full asking price of $39.98. Next up is a Zara baby item. I've talked about this pretty recently, but I've been experimenting with picking up kids and baby items at the bins, just at the bins right now. But there are a couple brands that I notice perform well for me on a regular basis. Zara is one of them. Another one I can think of is Baby Bowden. Both of those brands do really good for me, and I come across it at the bins pretty often actually. So these ones were super lightweight because again, they were baby. They were just a pair of baby little kind of, not paper bag, but belted tie waist pants. Super cute. Probably paid 50 cents for them. They sold very quickly for my full asking price of $14.89. Pick these pair of Lululemon bright royal blue leggings up. I don't know what to say. You guys know it's Lululemon, so I picked it up. I will say I try to stay away from the like older style tank tops in this brand, but leggings are pretty tried and true. We paid $4.39 for these, and even the smaller sizes like size 0 and size 2 still flip for me in leggings in this brand. So I pick up pretty much all the leggings if they're in good condition. This one was a pretty decent size. It was a size 6, and then the collar really helped to up the value. Paid $4.39. It sold on my full asking price of $49.89. Next up is a shirt I kind of took a chance on. This is an all style, not a brand I would commit to memory. Just a graphic t-shirt, but it was really the subject matter. It was a 2013, so not vintage, but it was a Playboy Jazz Festival. And I thought there would be some nostalgia with that. I really like the graphics on this. Playboy is really popular, so is Jazz Festival. And so when both of those subjects are combined, I figured this would sell pretty well. There are some like vintage ones of this that do so much better. And because I saw how much those were going for, I figured even a more modern piece would do good as well. I paid $4.99 for this at a thrift store. It did sell very quickly for my full asking price of $29.89. This is a Hard Rock Cafe sweatshirt. Definitely do not pick up everything in this brand. However, I looked up Hard Rock Cafe Tokyo because I thought that was a more unique location. Almost all of these shirts, sweatshirts, and all of that have a certain location on them. So it's pretty easy to do a comp with the location to see if you've got a rare one or not. This one was Tokyo, and the Tokyo ones do extremely well. I actually have this priced up, I think at like $80 or best offer. Paid $4.39 at a thrift store. Someone offered me $55 and I went ahead and took it, so I'm not sitting on items. This went overseas. I don't remember where, but it was an international sale. Next up is kind of an odd item for us, but we took a chance on it. Picked this up at the bin. So this is a Brunswick, which is a pretty popular bowling brand, leather vintage bowling bag. I like the color blocking detail. Nikki actually found this one and did a comp on it. It's actually a pretty lightweight bag, but it was real leather, and we just really liked the color blocking and knew that Brunswick was a pretty popular brand. So we probably paid maybe a couple bucks for this. It did have a good sell-through rate. So once again, we took a chance on it as we were picking up from the bins. It sold very quickly to my surprise for our full asking price of $64.88. Next up are a pair of Born shoes. I've showed this kind of style of shoes in the Nayot brand. I don't even know what to call these. I call them kind of primitive looking shoes, but leather with this buckle here. If you guys think of a better word, let me know. But this exact style in a couple different brands is doing really well for me, and it always sells almost immediately after I get them listed. This brand was Born. I paid $4.99 for them. It sold very quickly at $29.88, which was my full asking price. Next up are a pair of driftwood jeans. I think I showed this in a previous video. Someone bought these, quote unquote, but had not paid for them yet. It ended up getting canceled due to lack of payment, and then I relisted them. They sold almost immediately again. So I did want to show these one more time. These are called the Cayley jeans by the brand Driftwood. Pretty much everything in this jeans brand does really good. If you're not familiar with them, they have really nice embroidered jeans. Depending on the style and the embroidery you have, they can go for even more than this, but always fetching a pretty penny. These ones were also size 32, which I think helped to sell them quicker. And like I said, pretty much as soon as I relisted them, they sold again. Paid $4.99. It sold for a full asking price of $89.88, which is an amazing return on investment. This is a men's brand I've been keeping an eye on. It is Tory Richard. This is just a cotton shirt. I've gotten, I think, silk shirts that have done better in this brand, but particularly the men's shirts do pretty good and have a following. I think they might also sell women's. I'm not sure about that, but I do know that the men's do pretty good. Picked this one up even though it was just cotton because it was a Hawaiian print shirt, and the Hawaiian prints in this brand seem to be doing good. I paid $4.39. It sold for my full asking price of $24.87. This is another bins pickup. I picked up this Free People jacket at the bins. This is a size large, and it's a pretty substantial piece. It is a long tiered zip hoodie in a nice olive green color. I know a lot of people pass on Free People, but I'm still picking up the more substantial pieces, especially at the bins where I'm getting everything so cheap because certain pieces still have a following. This sold almost immediately after getting it listed. It was listed for $39.87, and it did sell for our full asking price. Next up is another bins find. This is a pair of Nike Pro women's spandex shorts. I picked these up at the bins, or if I can get them for $1 or $2 at the thrift store. They have a really great sell-through rate. Larger sizes can help to up the value to $20 or $25, as well as certain prints. But just in general, usually you can get about $15 to $25 for them. Once again, depending on the size and the print, but they flip super quickly. A lot of people wear them for volleyball and various other sports, and so I really like picking this up because of the high sell-through rate. Plus, it's pretty easy to just copy an already sold listing because all the information's already there and you only have to change a couple things. I picked these up once again at the bins. Couldn't have cost but 50 cents. They sold very quickly for $14.87, which was my full asking price. Next up is another bins find. This is a brand I'd recommend looking for during this time of the year in nicer fabrics. The brand is Vince. And this one was 100% cashmere. Cashmere, merino wool, and certain materials in this brand can do well. So this is just a V-neck cashmere sweater. It sold very, very quickly at our full asking price of $39.87. And once again, I did pick this up at the bins. We're now going to move on to our Poshmark sales. These were a pair of Abercrombie & Fitch men's camo cargo shorts. I've talked about this a lot, but there has been a resurgence in this brand. And if you go look up specifically the Abercrombie & Fitch men's camo cargo shorts, you'll see that they have a really good following. Depending on the ones you have, they can go for even more than this or less than this. I priced mine middle range. It sold very quickly at an offer of $40. Once again, it's just this particular style and this particular print, and I paid $4.39 for them. These are a pair of shoes I found at the bins. These are just the brand Franco Sarto, which is not typically a brand I'd recommend picking up. However, I really liked the style of these, and it is something that I make an exception for when they are soft, supple leather. The style was called Waco, and so I was actually able to look that up pretty quickly. But anytime I see something that's a super soft, supple leather, and that's the only way I can describe it to you, is super thin, soft leather, I usually take chances on them because it usually pays off. Once again, these were called the Waco booties, so I was able to look that up and see that they had a pretty good following. Didn't pay much because I got them at the bins. They sold very quickly on an offer for $35. Next up is another pair of shoes. I actually picked these up at a thrift store for $4.99. The brand is BCBG Generation, which is basically a line off of BCBG Max Azria or BCBG. I'm not sure which came first. Also not a brand I typically pick up, but I made the exception because it was real leather and has studded details. And I find that studded details in shoes does increase value in a lot of cases because it is more unique, and typically when brands make those, they don't last very long, so they become more rare and harder to find. So once again, paid $4.99. They sold very quickly for my full asking price on Poshmark for $29. This was something I paid up for. I paid $9.99 for this dress. At a Goodwill, they had it priced a little bit up. It is a silk dress by the brand Sue Wong. Now, if you look up this brand, it actually does not have a super high sell-through rate, even in this this line called Nocturne. But I took a chance once again because it was 100% silk, and it had the prettiest details to it, the prettiest color, and I just had a really good feeling about it. I priced this up real high, I think at $80 or $85. Someone quickly sent me an offer for $60. And if you don't know, or if you don't already sell formal wear tends to sit longer than other items. And so when I get an offer that's pretty close to what I'm asking for in formal wear, I almost always take it because I don't want the item sitting, because there's a very short window as to when that might sell. So I accepted an offer of $60. The buyer got a good deal and I made a great return on investment, but I would keep your eye out for silk dresses with really unique details. This is another bins find. I actually also took a chance on this one. This had some staining around the collar. I did a little treatment just at my house in the washing machine and was able to get that out. However, when I put it into the dryer, it did shrink. Shame on me. But this used to be a men's size, and I just basically switched it over to a women's sizing because it now fit women. But if you look up the Polo Ralph Lauren Argyle or Diamond sweaters, which is this print right here, this print increases value right now. I don't know why, but this is really popular. And so when I saw this on a Polo Ralph Lauren sweater, I decided to get it. Even switching it over to a women's sizing, it still sold very quickly on an offer for $40. Next up is a brand, if you don't know about, I would become familiar with. It is a men's brand. I think they might actually sell women's too. But this is a men's piece called Todd Snyder. Great brand to know, has a really great following, and even something as simple as a pocket t-shirt can go for $40, like this one. And I paid $4.39 for this. Next up is an Eddie Bauer vintage wool shirt jacket, essentially. Anything Eddie Bauer wool that looks like a shirt jacket or is a thick shirt, I definitely recommend picking up. I actually paid up for this one. I paid $15, and someone sent me an offer for $40. I went ahead and accepted. I probably could have waited and got more, but once again, I'm trying to move items, so $15 into $40. And lastly, it's one of my favorite brands to find, although I don't come across it very often. It is CP Shades, and this is a 100% linen top. They tend to make linen pieces, sometimes cotton, sometimes silk, but it's mostly linen pieces that they're well known for. They flip so quickly, and so if you know about this brand, then it's easier to find because a lot of people pass on this tag because it doesn't look like much. Paid $4.39 for this at a thrift store, and it sold very quickly for $45. Alright guys, so that's it for my sales. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Drop a comment down below. Let me know how sales are going for you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.